Hi, Caleb from Brownells here, and in today's video we're going to be building an AR-15 in 338 ARC. So if you're not familiar with 338 ARC, it is a somewhat newer caliber, and I'm just going to kind of pull one out here so you can see what it looks like. But it's kind of similar to the theory behind 300 Blackout, except instead of using a 30 caliber projectile, it is using a 338 projectile. So it's almost like, if you're familiar with the 8.6 Blackout for the larger frame ARs, it's almost like that shrunken down to fit in a smaller frame for all intents and purposes. But another question you might ask is, why would you need this when you have 300 Blackout? Really the answer for that is subsonic. This thing, because it's a heavier projectile, it hits harder in subsonic. So with that, you can use this thing for, you can use it for range stuff, but it really shines for hunting things like hogs. This is an amazing hog round if you're looking to do hunting with that smaller platform. So lighter weight gun, but still a very hard hitting cartridge. But with that being said, let's just kind of jump right into it. So the build itself, we already got the lower built out. We're just using a standard AR-15 lower that we had on a couple of other builds. But this is a LMT Mars lower with a dye-free grip, Geisley SSAEX lightning bow trigger, the BCM recoil mitigation system with the Magpul SLS stock, because this is my favorite stock so far this year. All right, now let me just kind of set this aside, and we won't need that till later. So components we're using, optic-wise, we're going with the Trichicon Credo 1:8. So this is a pretty newer optic. I haven't used it yet. And we put it in the new Midwest Industries, the Mark II mounts. These are just super solid, really nice, but still lightweight mounts. So that's what we're going to be working with there. Handguard, the new Midwest Industries Combat HD. I say new, depends on when you're watching this video. But just a really nice, robust handguard. And suppressor-wise, we are using a Dead Air Nomax. So 338 specific suppressor. And this is a lot of can for this caliber, so it's going to be nice and quiet. Of course, we'll do a range report as well. But that'll be probably its own video. We probably won't put that into this particular video. The barrel, we're using a Faxon Match Series in 338 ARC. And yeah, so they make these in multiple different lengths, so you can do whatever you need to do with it. This one is going to technically be an SBR because this is your shorter barrel, but you can of course get it in 16 inches as well. And then the muzzle device is this is a Dead Air Xeno that comes with the Nomax. And charging handle, we're using the Radian Raptor LT. So we use that quite a bit, so you should be familiar with it if this isn't your first Brownells video, or Brownells build video, I should say. Brownells bolt carrier group and Brownells mil-spec upper receiver. Moving on from there, we are using a rifle speed adjustable gas block, so we can get this thing nice and tuned for both ammunition types. And because we're also using the T0 buffer, so buffer-wise we're running pretty lightweight, which should be fine as long as we're using this adjustable gas block. And if you're not familiar with the rifle speed, they are adjustable by hand. You don't need any tools, and you can adjust them on the fly. And they're labeled, so you have position 1, which is the most closed, and then you got these nice tactile positions you can rotate into, and you can open this sucker all the way up. So that's pretty much all there is to that there. And I'll show you how to put that together too. So, alright, that's all the components we're using. Now let's start building something. I'll also kind of take you through the tools too as we go through. But for upper receiver vice block, of course if you're doing this at home, you can use your favorite upper receiver vice block, but we're using the device. This is the Mark I Mod 0, but the device from the device manufacturing. We're going to take our Brownells upper receiver, drop it in, and lock it in place. Alright. I'm going to take a little bit of Brownells Action Lube Plus. So this is just a Molly B type grease. And I'm going to put a little bit on this barrel extension here. And a little bit goes a long way, you don't need much. Alright, then I'm going to push that into the upper receiver. And this is a nice and tight fit. There we go. Alright. Now, let me grab a rag. Okay, so at this point, we'll take the barrel nut that came with our Midwest Industries Handguard, put a little bit more grease inside those threads, and a little bit on the front shoulder of your barrel extension, because that's the actual contact point. Slide it on over and hand tighten it. Okay. Now at this point we can actually use, so this wrench right here, this is the Brownells Armor wrench for the BRN4/HK416, but I think it should work on this barrel nut. So we're just going to set our torque wrench to 40 foot-pounds. Set the wrench 90 degrees from the actual driver here. We'll turn that around actually. Alright. And we're going to go 40 foot-pounds. Alright, and there it is. Make sure I had this set. Yep, okay. So now, we'll take that off. Now, we'll go ahead and take care of this gas block. Now, Rifle Speed also sent us this nifty little tool here. It's just a block of plastic, but I will show you what it's used for. Let me open up the gas tube. And you do have to use the specific gas tube. It's a straight gas tube, not the curved gas tube like you're used to on most of your standard AR gas blocks. Alright, so if you take the gas setting, open it up all the way, and I think this is the right side. There's two different sides for two different models. Yeah, I had it right the first time. Okay. You just lay the gas block in there, and this acts as a little bench block to hammer the pin in. So also important with that is a punch and hammer, so we'll grab that. Alright, so we got a Brownells cross peen hammer here. And some punches. So there's definitely a better way to organize these. But let me see if I can get it going without the starter punch here, and we'll go from there. Alright, so the gas tube goes into the gas block, making sure the large hole is on the bottom. And it should be a nice snug fit. Which we may actually use the vise to get that in there. Alright, so what I'm doing right now, this is a very snug fit here, and this gas block is cut all the way through. So what I'm doing is I'm using the Delrin side of this hammer, okay, and I'm very gently tapping it into place. Alright, and then now that that's gently tapped into place, if the face of your hammer is messed up like mine, you just want to inspect the end there, make sure none of that Delrin got off in there, and then, yep, everything looks perfectly fine. So if you have to hit this thing hard, don't hit it. Okay, gentle taps should be all we needed. And if I tried hard enough, I probably could have just pushed it in there without the hammer. But it is very important that we don't mess up this bell end of this gas tube. Okay, you want to keep that nice and concentric. So this one looks great, perfectly fine. All right, so we'll set it in the tool here so we can drive in that gas tube roll pin. All right, and I may need that starter punch after all, but I'm going to give it a try without it real quick here. Alright, and this is wanting to wobble a little bit, so I might actually just throw it in the vise. I'm going to position it like this. Get more contact on the tool. Perfect. Alright, and we're almost there. We just got to get it in flush the rest of the way. Alright, there we go. We'll set our hammers aside. Alright, and then we also have the set screws for this gas tube, along with some other spare parts here. And it also comes with a roll pin, so if you want to pin it to the barrel, it's already drilled. You just got to drill through the barrel and then throw in the roll pin. So if you want to make it bomb-proof, that is the way to do it. Alright, so we took out our set screws. We'll throw this back in the vise. Alright, now all we need to do is slide this on. Just like so. Yeah, that looks good. Alright. I panicked for a second there. I just wanted to make sure I got the right length of gas tube. Okay. Now, the bottom of this barrel is not dimpled, so I can tell you this, I will be pinning this thing in the near future, but not in this particular video. So what we're going to do is take our Brownells handle here, grab a bit, and then we're gonna, I was wondering why the bit wouldn't go in, and there is this is a magnetic handle, and there's a roll pin stuck in there, which can definitely happen. It's not the first time, and it definitely won't be the last. So we'll just pull that out. There we go. Okay, now back to it. And as you can see, the teeth that are on the bottom of this screw, they're serrated so that as you torque into the barrel, they bite into the metal. So these are really good screws. I like when the manufacturers do that with gas block screws. I'll turn this vise a little bit. And we'll just make sure this is straight. All right. Put that last screw in. And we use the first screw to line everything up, so we just drive that last one straight in. Okay, now we can finish installing the handguard. So we're just going to take that, slide it on over the gas block, and there we go. Okay, so now we're going to need, I believe this is a T25. Nope, T27. That's 25 plus 2, 27. And then T, because of math. Alright, so now you have your indexing block for the Midwest Industries handguard. That just goes into the bottom. It only goes in one way without overhanging, so you want it to be nice and flush with no overhang. Then your screw goes right through there, both of them. And we'll take our torque wrench and set it to 40 inch-pounds. Alright, so now that the handguard's torqued, we can move on. And at this point, let me put away my punches here. Where's the muzzle device? The muzzle device. So we'll go ahead and install the muzzle device. And I will also, at the same time, prevent this suppressor from rolling off the table. Let's just kind of see where this indexes, and then we'll shim it if we need to. And we do need to shim it, but not much. Alright, let me grab my 5/8 shims, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I got my Brownells shim kit here, and now I'm just going to dig through it and see what I need. And I didn't need much, so let's see where we're at. So that would be perfect if I wasn't putting torque on it. So let me find a thin shim. That one's too thick. Alright, so we'll throw this one on here, tighten it down, and that's at about the 11 o'clock, so that's perfect. Now, this muzzle device, the flats are a little bit larger than the standard 3/4 inch, and I don't have any standard wrenches that are that size, so I'm just going to use an adjustable wrench and very carefully get it where it needs to be. And that looks pretty good. And I know I'm not exceeding my muzzle device torque here, so we're nowhere near like 25 to 35 foot-pounds. We're pretty decently under that, but still nice and snug. Now, you may also want to consider putting rock set on this muzzle device as well. Anytime you're running a suppressor mount, it's just a good idea, good practice. And that is, of course, the only place on your AR-15 you should be using rock set. Okay, now that that's installed, let's see how it looks with the suppressor. So Xeno is left-hand threads. Yeah, that's great. So we have our handguard here, transitions down into our adjustable gas block, which is nice and easy to adjust without having to, fish any tools underneath the handguard and stuff like that. So yeah, that's great. Okay. Now we'll take our optic and mount it onto this receiver here. Yep, that's way too loose. Okay, so what we want to do is just push these levers in. When you do that, the nut is exposed and you just tighten it. So I'm going to go 1, 2, I'm going to go about 3. And see how that feels. Ooh, that might be too tight actually. I'm going to back off just 1. Yeah, that feels good. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing to the front one. Yep, that's good. Okay, so now when I put it where I want it, notice that there's a little bit of play front and back. You want to take the optic mount, push it far forward into the rail as possible, and then clamp your clamps down. So you want to make sure you push forward against the rail. The reason you want to do that is because under recoil the rifle's coming back and the optic's heavy, so it's kind of wanting to stay in place. So it can't shift forward if it's already as far forward as possible. So that's the reason why you want to do that. Now we can throw a few accessories on here as well. I have a BCM vertical grip, and then I also have some strike rail panels, and I actually haven't used these yet, so we'll see how I like them. Okay, now the grip is basically just going to be an indexing point for my hand, and let me get a driver set up here. And we'll just throw that on. Also being mindful of where the gas block is, because you want to make sure your screws aren't going to touch your gas block. You don't want anything touching your gas block except the barrel. And let me just make sure here. Get in there with a flashlight. Yeah, perfect. Okay. And let's throw some of these rail panels on here. So it looks like they include some blue Loctite. I am probably not going to use that, but of course you can if you want to. Alright, these are T20s. And these here, they say will fit either M-Lock or key mod. So if you're still running key mod, you know, for whatever reason, I don't know why you would do that. But if you are, these will fit. So we'll just drop them on. Alright, so I got two right there, and I'm just going to do the same exact thing on the opposite side. And we'll call it done as far as that goes. Alright, so now we can take this out of the vise block, and let's see here. We got our charging handle, our bolt carrier group. We'll take a little bit of gun oil here. So this is Sons of Liberty Spec 76 that I just put into a Brownells needle oiler because they're super convenient, especially for the workbench. And I'll just put some on there. Lock it into the upper. Put some on my bolt carrier group friction surfaces here. Now let's attach the upper to the lower, and then we can talk magazines, because that's very important for this particular cartridge. Alright. And that is the gun build. I think it came out great. Can't wait to get it to the range. So like I said, we're going to do a range report video as well, and go from there. Now, as I mentioned, magazines are very, very important because at the time of this video anyway, the best magazine to get for this particular cartridge is the Duramag 400 Legend. So this is their 10-round magazine for 400 Legend, and they are, and I'm sure in the near future there will be, you know, 338 ARC specific magazines. There may already be that I don't even know about, but the 400 Legend mags feed great. You can get them to feed and other stuff, but these are the most reliable way. These are just purely reliable, I should say, rather than trying to put them in something weird like 6.5 Grendel or something like that, which some people have said it works, but these work every time. So we're going to be using, like I said, Duramag 400 Legend magazines for the 338 ARC. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you've done one of these builds, let us know in the comments down below. We'd like to hear from you. As always, if you need help for anything, for any reason, ever, feel free to give us a call on the tech line. We'll be happy to help you out. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.